Welcome back, Dead Ball Dancing. This is official episode number 3, technical episode number 4. As you can see, my co-host has been replaced by a train on a piece of paper. I think Justin might have a couple things he wants to say about
Just a few.
Purdue, perhaps.
Good to be back, man. We got a lot going on this week, so glad to be here talking more hoops with you. I mean, getting a lot of love on the episodes too. We got Steph and my brothers-in-law watching today too, so appreciate you guys tuning in and let's have some fun.
Hell yeah! There's a lot of good basketball happening. There's a lot of bad basketball happening.
That's very true too. Yeah,
so
very true.
It is early still. It is early in the season, but why don't you just go ahead and kick the show talking about your team?
Okay,
all right. Some Purdue.
Now, yeah, I'll give you some Purdue. So we all know I was afraid of the game. I think realistically, I expected us to lose. I didn't know if we were going to get thrashed, but I didn't think we had the team, to pull off any sort of upset against Bama. But man, talk about the start to the season for us shooting the ball. 53% from the field, 46% from three. We know Purdue's been able to shoot, and they've been highly efficient around the rim. But I really thought losing Edey, to your point last week, was going to be pretty detrimental to us. But then we have 3 more 7-footers who are just as nimble, just as quick, that have come in and kind of slotted right in. Versus Bama, they shot 9 for 16 from 3, 18 assists to 3 turnovers, and surprisingly to me, 10 offensive rebounds, Rick. Now, I know we have height, but I didn't think we had the athleticism to keep up with Bama at all. So I was really, really happy with that performance. And, we got a tough schedule coming up. I think we have a really tough opponent this week. I forgot who it was, Marquette. So not going to get too high, especially since we did lose Daniel Jacobson, our starting 7-footer for the season, to a broken tibia. But we do have 2 replacements, 7-footers that we're going to slot right in. How it goes.
Glutties, man. Unbelievable.
We're like a farm for them, right? But we've just been shooting the ball really well, and I really liked how we've taken care of the ball. I'm going to stop my soapbox here shortly, but we've been averaging 20 assists to 10 turnovers a game, and 10 turnovers is high. But when you're 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, you're going to win some big games. And we took care of the ball against Bama, and I couldn't be more proud of the guys. And I'm talking like I'm on the team, which is crazy, but I feel I feel like I'm a part of the team. So yeah, I was rocking with that game.
All right. Well, I mean, you did it, so I guess I'll do it. If you've ever watched the Wisconsin Badgers basketball game ever, let me just tell you, we scored 103 points.
That's
impressive enough. Full stop. Doesn't matter win or loss. Doesn't matter opponent. 103 points.
Yeah,
I'll take it. That is an offensive production that just it doesn't happen for Wisconsin.
No.
Now throw in that it was against a ranked team.
Number 8. Number 8.
I didn't watch. It was Friday night. I had Flip Cup League. I wanted nothing to do with this at all. Yeah. And I checked the score afterwards, and I'm like, oh crap! Now I'm gonna have to go back and watch this game. Wisconsin shot 48%. I mean, they took 52 shots. I mean, they backed Arizona into a corner. Arizona shot 38% on 74 shots from the floor. 28 for 40 from the stripe. I mean, Wisconsin shot 90% from the stripe.
Right.
I mean, those things are the things I take away from the game, and I say, okay, that's repeatable. That's sustainable.
Yep.
And really, that's what I want to take away, because all the opponents that they're going to play all year long aren't quality opponents, right? They're not all ranked opponents. They're not all going to be able to shoot the way Arizona can shoot. Now, obviously, able to shut them down, but it's more the fundamentals for me, because we have to win our Big Ten schedule. We have to be able to win those scrappy 70 to 58 Big Ten games.
Yeah.
And if you can shoot 90% from the stripe, and you can show that hitting 50% from the floor is a realistic thing, I think it's possible. So I'm going to pump the brakes. But I'm glad that I get to share in your Purdue excitement a little bit with my team actually performing to
And
what they're capable of, but not always what they do.
I know what you mean. I'm glad you went back and watched the game though too, because Arizona just did not look prepared. And you called this out early when you were like, hey, they got to go to Wisconsin, then they got to go to Bahamas, and then they got to play Duke, and you're like, they're gonna mess something up in there somewhere. And I don't think they were ready for that travel. And Pac-12 they were all West Coast. They didn't have to go anywhere, right? I mean, what, a 45-minute flight to LA.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. So I'm glad that you called it out. So yeah, but man, what a top 25 this week. I'm just gonna keep it rolling here, right? So I think I'm gonna leave Bama because, as you can see, Bama's on the screen twice. But I was really proud of the little guys, man. And they're not so little anymore because I guess they're technically in the top 25. But St. John and Rutgers, I'm proud of the way that those seemingly low-high majors, I guess, played. St. John's is a phenomenal defensive team. Now, we kind of knew that was coming with Patino, I guess, at the helm, but they're forcing 15 turnovers a game on blocks and steals alone. Not even just like careless passes by their team. Just blocks and steals alone, they're 15 turnovers a game, which is like, to me, that's a ton of extra opportunities. Even if you only convert half those opportunities and points off, you're still looking at 14 to 18 points off of turnovers a game, which that's going to win you some big games, right? So they do need to clean up some sloppy passing. But other than that, I think I'm really happy with St. John's. And then Rutgers, I think versus St. Peter's, the Peacocks that you were saying, right? They looked like crap. You were like, oh, no, dude, they don't look very good at all. But they had a solid take care of the business win the next game. I forgot what they played. 60% from the field, 55% from three, and then 78 from the line. And, if you put together that type of effort in your little tune-up games, get your bench going like we had talked about in previous episodes, you're going to win a lot of those big games that you have later in the season. And they're all American. Dylan Harper, that we called out kind of as the top recruit in the class, is just getting off. Like, he's fitting into the system super well. Patino's just essentially giving him the ball and telling him to go. And they just look super, super smooth and fluid as a team. So I was really happy to see those the little guys do well.
Well, and if you're going to schedule these smaller mid majors and these
Right.
non D1 teams, you have to win. You have to clean up. So it's really good to see some of the teams that we've talked about go and win the games that they're supposed to win.
Exactly.
The meat of our top 25 here. And if you're new, this is our top 25. It's an aggregate, but you might notice that it looks a little bit different than what the AP poll and ESPN are trotting out there. But something we've talked about on earlier episodes is kind of how this chunk in the middle, that like 10 to 18, 10 to 20 kind of chunk, how they do week over week. And if you're looking at the board here, you see all of those teams for the most part rising up. They're winning the games they're supposed to win. They're looking good. If they play ranked opponents, they're losing close. For me, it's the teams that are still sitting in this middle chunk here. Texas A&M is one that has really stood out to me. I mean, they're out there playing, right? And they're not world beaters, and they have a really tough SEC schedule coming up. But they're doing what they need to do to be in the conversation. And so, a BYU, Creighton, Baylor with a loss, Cincinnati, those teams are really playing their style of basketball, and they're winning their games, and the top 25 is the top 25, right? At the end of the day, what matters is top 68. Right. And, if you go 5-0 to start the season, that's a really great start. You still have to get through the grind of conference play, but that's a really good way to start your year off.
Yeah.
One other thing I did want to call out on our top 25 is that despite our best efforts, Kentucky has crept in here. They jumped in the AP poll. They popped on Ken Palm. It's like we try to keep some of these guys out of here. And now here we are. Like, Kentucky's in there, and Texas is still hanging on somehow, and like Pitt's in here.
And I know I'm going to catch flack later too, because I don't think I explicitly said that Kentucky was going to lose to Duke, but I essentially shat on Kentucky last week in our episodes, right? Mainly because of their whack strength of schedule. And I still stand by that. Like, they beat Duke, hell of a goddamn win, right? But like, that's their last test until like February, right? So it's like,
See, now we kind of pre-show had a conversation about the
yeah,
strength of schedule,
yeah,
and
yeah,
we were talking about in the lens of Purdue. You were talking about
right,
Purdue's strength of schedule. I still
yeah,
have Purdue ranked lower than you, lower than
yeah,
Ken Pom, lower than
yeah,
the AP,
yeah,
and I had said the reason for that was because they haven't shown me anything yet.
yeah, true, true.
And you had a point about strength of schedule, so I just wanted to address that really quick.
Yeah, yeah,
For me, strength of schedule is the games that you have played, right? We can look forward, and
yeah,
you are right. They have a murderer's row coming up here. Now they
right,
go to Marquette. They play a good NC State team.
correct,
No,
yeah,
they play Penn State. They play Maryland. They play A&M. They play Auburn. Like, they have
yeah,
a schedule here that's going to be hard to get through.
yeah, agreed.
But they've played the Little Sisters of the Poor and Alabama up until this point, right? So, like, if you beat barely a mid-major by 30 at home, that's strength of schedule, right? Like, you're
Yeah, good
undefeated
point.
because you've played no one,
Yeah,
right? So I think Purdue will continue to win.
yeah,
And I think some of these other teams, Kentucky included, who don't play so many tough games, their losses are eventually going to catch up with them, right? Like,
yeah,
Purdue wins their big games, they're going to jump up the rankings. If
yeah,
Kentucky
yeah,
loses the crap schedule that they have, they're going to
right,
fall down the rankings, right? But I don't think me as a ranker, right, and we don't have any criteria. You can rank
yeah,
however you want.
right, right,
But
right.
for me as a ranker, I'm not going to look forward and be like, oh, Purdue, Wisconsin might be a top 10 team when they play. Purdue's schedule is really tough.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
what are you doing right now? What does this week look like? Are you gonna win your back to backs coming off a ranked game, and then you play Minnesota at home? Like those are the ones like I'll look at in a smaller scale, but I'm never gonna be
yeah,
like the way they scheduled this season. I'm gonna rank them higher. You got to win the
yeah.
games. You got to play the games.
And I think when you explain it that way, it makes a lot of sense. And I actually do agree with you, right? I think where I'm getting tripped up on kind of the shifting in the ranking is twofolds, right? Like Kentucky went unranked to 18, rightfully so, because they beat number 6 Duke. Hell of a damn win, like deservedly to be in the top 25, right? Purdue was, I think, like what, 13 or 14 on the AP, somewhere in that realm, right? And then beat number 2, like pretty soundly, and like moved up a slot, right? And that's I guess to be expected, just dependent upon Ken Pom, right? Because we weigh Ken Pom more, so I understand. But it's like the thing that frustrates me is like, and why I would like to see strength of schedule proactively taken into consideration, probably selfishly, is because Kentucky's at 18 now. Conceivably, they're not going to lose a game until February, right? And it's against nothing teams, but they might go 18, 17, 16,
Yeah.
15, 14. It's like, dude, you're playing like California School to death. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just, that's where it gets a little bit muddy for me.
Well, and a lot of it is that the AP has them at 9. They're not the 9th best team in the country.
They're not even close to the 9th best team.
And so like we the way we have ours set up is to allow for the AP poll to kind of tether us to reality, right? Because most people don't follow Ken Pom. They follow the AP poll, right? That little number next to your team's name on the ticker on ESPN is the only exposure most people have.
Right,
so like it is relevant, but it's insane. So calling attention to that as well. Like the reason we've gone a different direction with our rankings is because no matter how you slice it, Kentucky is not the number 9 team in the country.
Not even close.
Just not.
They're not even top 15, right? Like it's
Ken Pom. I think they're at 18 in the Ken Pom.
Right.
And it's like, you had a huge win and they played really efficiently. And like that's what Ken Pom looks at. So it's like, but I just like the AP poll is going to skew our numbers by a smaller margin than Ken Pom or your my opinion would. But just another thing to call out for anyone watching our show for the first time or even second or third time. It's like we are ranking these differently because of the inherent bias and inaccuracies in the AP poll. Like the reason the college playoff committee in football has their own rankings is because you can't trust AP to rank anything correctly.
Perfectly put. Perfectly put. Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead.
No, the last call out I had, and one of the things that I, again, just looking at our rankings and that damn green arrow, just it's got me feeling some type of way is I've been kind of harping on Kansas all season, right? But like they're just not performing. Like Michigan State is probably historically the weakest they've been in God knows how long, right, Rick? I mean, they used to be a powerhouse, right? They won that game by like 8 points or something like that.
They barely covered.
Barely covered. They shot again poorly from three, 29% on 5 for 17, after shooting 28%, 6 for 21 against UNC. So now, year to date, right, which we had thought they were going to be a good shooting team, against Oakland and Howard, right? They shot 19 for 42 or 46% from three, right? Against UNC and Michigan State, they've shot 11 for 38 or 28%, right? Like that's worrisome to me. Like you're taking care of business against these crap teams, but the minute you get some defensive pressure, they're just not up to the task right now. And I think Bill Self will get them figured out, but they got some work to do in order to make a deep run in the tourney. Now, one thing I do want to call out before we move on to the next segment is Hunter Dickinson might win Player of the Year, dude. Like this guy is. I don't know if you've been watching him play. He just put up 28 and 10 like it was nothing, right? On like 60% shooting. He's averaging 19 a game on 57% shooting. Literally an improvement in both categories versus last year. And I had Cryer, I think, for Player of the Year, and you had Sears, and they both kind of underperformed a little bit. But I want to know where Hunter Dickinson lies in the odds right now, because that man is hooping.
Yeah, and honestly, them playing like shit as a team helps him, because the more he has to do, the better those stats are going to be, right? And at the end of the day, it is still a stat performance award. I mean, you have to put the numbers up. And I think the worse they play as a unit, the more likely it is that he has to take over, and the numbers will be there.
Yeah. And heck of a game they got next week, huh? 11-26 versus Duke. I don't know, man. They gotta clean up that shooting percentage if they have a chance against Duke, because Duke is not a lackadaisical defensive team. Like they guard,
and they're lengthy. They're lengthy.
Yeah.
Man. It's like last call that I had really quickly was the Big 12. Arizona again gave up triple digits to Wisconsin. The Big 12 is going to get real crowded here, and if Arizona can't fix whatever the hell that was on defense, they're not going to be on our board for very long, and they are probably not going dancing. This Big 12 can work them over if they're going to give up points like that.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, you look at Iowa State and Baylor alone, like they go up against those two teams. I don't think they'd be either of those teams right now. That's just my opinion, though. So
and do BYU, Cincinnati, Texas Tech. I mean, like the league is stacked, and then like Houston's still Houston,
I think perennially they were obviously top of the class in the Pac-12, but it's like all of a sudden, dude's bigger and stronger than you in your conference. You're having to play back-to-backs or 2-3 games against these top quality opponents. Will come conference play. It's like I don't think they're definitely not winning Big 12 conference. I don't think that's happening.
There's no way.
Which means they're gonna have to get it at large bid, and if they don't start winning, I don't know, man.
Yeah, you can't give up triple digits to fringe tournament teams. I mean, this is just not going to fly at the end of the year.
No, it's not. Oh man.
All right, so we only have 3 teams on notice. I almost fixed this graphic, but I thought it looked kind of funny. We both had some call-outs about Alabama. You got a little more into the weeds, where mine is a little more schedule-based here. So if it's okay with you, I'll talk about that really quickly and then let you talk more X's and O's.
Yeah, let's do it.
Bama has to play Illinois, Houston, Rutgers, Notre Dame, North Carolina, all in the next 2 weeks. And then, we've been talking about how the SEC is better. Then they start conference play.
Yep.
I'm real concerned that if they can't turn this around quickly, they're not a bad team, right? They're not a bad team.
No.
If they can't control the ball in this murderer's roll sample size that they have before they start conference play, they're going to continue slipping in my rankings.
Yep.
And there's only so many games you can lose, even if they're close games.
Right.
Now, you get in the SEC tournament, anything could happen. there's 5 good teams. Somebody wins it, right? Somebody pulls that bid down. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm worried that they're not going to get enough momentum going with the schedule they have to fight through here.
No, I agree. And when they didn't look good against McNeese State, remember we called out McNeese State as a mid-major to watch. They only won that game by 6 or 7 points. I was like, damn, Purdue might actually have a shot to get these guys, right? And one team that you forgot that I think they're absolutely going to lose to is Creighton. Like, Creighton's number 14 in the nation right now, and defensively, they're not going to play a team in that murderer's rows of a schedule that's as good as Creighton defensively. So they're in some trouble for sure. And one thing that I'm not understanding is their approach to offense just seems super disconnected. Let me run you through this, right? 112 out of their 240 field goal attempts, Rick, have been 3-point shots. And they're only shooting 30% on those shots, 30 for 112 year to date. But meanwhile, they're shooting 81 for 127 or 64% from inside the 3-point line. And your coach isn't kind of telling you like, hey, guys, stop jacking up threes. Like, get it inside. You got athleticism, you got strength, you got quickness. Get to the paint and go shoot some free throws, right? They're not doing it. Like, and if you're that disconnected on offense and you're sloppy, averaging 12 turnovers a game and only forcing 9, right? You have a schedule where number 24 Rutgers is going to come to town and they might wax you. Like, you're not a bad team by any means, Alabama, but with this schedule coming up and how disconnected they are from top to bottom, I'm very, very concerned. The one thing they do have, I think, is their rebound margin. They are taking care of the glass. But that doesn't matter if your offensive scheme just continues to disappoint. So, I couldn't agree with you more. I think they have a good chance to slide here in our top 25.
I want to let you go with Dayton.
Yeah.
Dayton continues to be a team that I'm disrespecting a little bit.
Yeah.
I've got them outside my top 25. And it's really through no fault of their own. They're playing really, really well. It's just, if we're only ranking 25 teams and I like all these other teams more, they're kind of just falling by the wayside. So like for me, I could have had them here on notice for me as well.
Yeah.
Because like they're a team to watch. In my opinion, they're a team that's here. They're not making my top 25 yet. And I think my ranking was keeping them out of our top 25.
Which, I mean, to be fair, I think I'm a little bit biased just because I like the way they play. And you're right. There's 25 teams on the board here that realistically are probably better than Dayton right this second, because they are kind of performing subpar offensively right now, but defensively, like, they are out of this world, right? And they just played Northwestern and like kind of handled them a little bit. I think they won by 7 or 8 points, which to me is a good win for Dayton, right? I mean, they're holding teams to 38% from the field, 31% from the 3-point line, and they're only allowing 61 points per game, right? Forcing 15 turnovers, leading to 17 points off of turnovers, 9 steals and 4 blocks a game. And I think, you keep hearing this thought process that defense wins championships. And I stand by that, right? Because you look at the last couple of champions and they've all been fundamentally sound defensively. And I think if Dayton keeps up this level of defensive play, like, they're going to make a serious run in the tournament. A-10, I think they have pretty handily unless VCU upsets them. So, even if they don't get that auto bid by conference championship, I think with their schedule and some of the tough opponents they got coming up, a couple top 25 ranked teams, they have a chance to get an at-large bid too. I think I'm really impressed with the way they're playing on the defensive side of the ball.
Marquette is a team for me that is kind of in danger in the way that Alabama is.
Yeah.
They're undefeated, so you can't take anything from them there. But haven't really played anybody
until
the next week here, where they play Purdue and a good Georgia team and Iowa State and Wisconsin and Dayton, and then jump into the Big East. And we've seen them slip in our rankings, and it's really just because of everyone else around them. They've really done nothing to be dropped. But they're also not doing anything to go up the board. So, they fell from 19 to 23 for us. And I mean, they could go 6-0 with a win against Purdue, and if it doesn't look great, they're still going to be kind of in this like 20 to 23 range for me. You know, and if you lose any of those games coming up, you're going to get pushed outside the top 30. And they're a good team. We know Marquette plays good basketball.
Oh yeah.
Realistically, out of half those games I just listed, they'll win. They'll beat Georgia. They could beat Wisconsin. They'll beat Dayton. Right. So like they're going to be in the conversation, but I wanted to put them on notice because like, this is it. This is it. Like they'll make the tournament, right? They'll make a deep run in the Big East. But if you want to be in the conversation as one of the big dogs, these are the games you have to win. And I'm not sure they can. I don't think they can beat Purdue. I think they could beat Wisconsin. But then, like, if you beat Wisconsin, I think that game's at Wisconsin, like huge game, get up game. You know, that's a in-state rivalry, especially in men's basketball. It matters. It's like, okay, so you beat Wisconsin, and then like maybe you play Dayton and have a letdown game, and you can't. If you're Marquette, you can't lose to other mid majors. It's not in your DNA. I think it would put them in a spiral, and then you get like blown out by a team like Creighton.
Right. And I think, you had mentioned like they're not really sliding in the rankings because of anything that they're doing. It's more kind of the people around them. But like, I know for me personally, like I slotted them low this week because they only beat Central Michigan by 6 and Maryland by 4. Like those are games that you, Marquette, you historic powerhouse that continues to make deep runs in the tourney, need to win by 15 or 20 points. Yes, here we go. A win's a win. I get it. But like, prove that you're the powerhouse that you're supposed to be, right? And I think, I don't think they're going to beat Wisconsin. I don't think they're going to beat Purdue. And I don't think they're going to face, in that run, a defensive team as strong as Dayton. And I'm not sure that they're going to beat Dayton. They might, but, I'm not going to say right now that I think they will. So they either have a chance to jump to like 6 in the next couple of weeks or drop to like 50. I'm just not sure which one it's going to be.
It's going to be interesting to watch, if nothing else. I mean, it's a murderer's row. Great job scheduling, right? Like, I feel like we've talked about schedule a few times with our top 25 teams. And it's like they have all these ranked teams early. So like good non-conference scheduling. I feel like coaches and athletic directors are doing a better job asking for and then going out and finding those matchups, because it makes a huge difference. If you're Purdue, we'll just keep saying Purdue. If you schedule a bunch of cupcakes and then you get into your Big Ten schedule, like the game against Minnesota, the game against Iowa, they become less doable, right? Because you haven't played anybody. Right. Like if your tune-up games are against Little Sisters of the Poor, and you play the 3 shittiest teams in the Big Ten, and then like Michigan State comes to town, like that's a lot more daunting. It's a game you should be much more afraid of than if you've already played real basketball teams and beaten them. So great job with the scheduling, top to bottom. Everyone's got ranked teams on here, and it matters. The reason all these teams are ranked at the beginning of the year is because they schedule other ranked teams at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, correct. Like we don't want to watch Auburn or UConn beat up somebody by 100 points. I think Baylor just beat whoever they played last by legitimately 70, which I'm not going to talk too much about Baylor because it was like
Tarleton State.
Whatever. It's like, why are you scheduling that, dude? Like play Iowa State right now. Like I want to see what you look like right now against Iowa State. Wishful thinking, obviously, but I agree. This next couple of weeks for Marquette in particular is going to be huge.
All right. Let's get into the game of the week.
Let's freaking do it, man. This is a good one. I like this one.
Yeah. And again, this is what we're talking about. These are good teams scheduling good teams in the non-con. Baylor and St. John's. I mean, this game has the potential to be either a barn burner or a defensive struggle. Either team could win this game. It's a little early for a spread yet. This game is 11:21, which is Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday.
Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday night. Yep.
So I mean, this could really set the pace. This is a Baylor team that has a loss already. Yep. Big game. Yeah, and you have to go there and play. I'm excited to watch because I'm excited to see what Baylor can do on the perimeter against a scrappier team. St. John's really good. We've talked about them a lot, but not a traditional power.
Nope.
And Baylor's bigger. Baylor's
Yeah.
bigger. So what are they going to do?
Yeah.
Because they don't shoot as well, right? So if they don't play to their size, this could get out of hand pretty quickly. And if you get that gym behind them, I mean, that's what I love about college basketball. You get those kids into it, and
Oh my God,
you got one guy that wears a t-shirt under his jersey and misses a free throw, and it's over, man. The student section will be on that guy.
Yeah, or what dude that wears goggles and misses a free throw? It's like you're gonna get some mails, like letters to your house. So,
oh yeah.
So I was, you bring up a really good point about the size, right? Because I thought the same thing. I was like, yeah, Baylor's gonna out rebound the ever loving hell out of St. John's, right? St. John's is having a +9 rebound margin a game right now. You're right. They're not that tall. Their guards average is 6'5". That's not that short for a guard, right? So I think on the perimeter, St. John's really does have a chance to kind of lean into that defensive scheme and cause some havoc because, they are averaging quite a few points a game off of forced turnovers. But again, I think what I'm worried about more for St. John's is the interior defense, because you are correct in that Baylor is just stronger and more athletic than St. John's as a whole. And on top of that, Baylor defensively is just on another level right now. I mean, they're forcing 17 turnovers a game and they're averaging 21 points off. So it's like, I'm confused what side I'm going to take here, but I know that if St. John's does not take care of the basketball, and Baylor starts that full court press where the ball starts churning and they're getting easy layups and dunks, I'm worried that it could go the opposite way and Baylor could blow them out pretty easily, because you got to think like Baylor is more tested traditionally than St. John's. But the X factor, I think, going back to the St. John's side, is Rick Pitino, right? Like, I think Rick Pitino is going to have this team ready to go against a big time team like Baylor, because I don't remember the last time that St. John's has been this high in the rankings and then also had someone come home, right, that's in the top 15 as well. So I think Pitino's going to have these guys fired up. I think he's going to have the scheme right. And, man, I'm looking forward to this game. I don't even know who I'm going to pick.
Yeah, I couldn't find a spread anywhere. Again, it's early. I think St. John's plays tonight. So still some action to go here. My numbers make this Baylor 4.5.
Yeah.
I would probably lay 4.5.
Yeah.
The over, I'd be really interested in the over. If it creeps up near 160, I think that's about right. If this comes in like 155.5, I'm gonna hit the over on this game before I bet a side. But
really,
I'm excited for this one. This should be pretty good.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out who, like, as I'm thinking about it, it's like this could either be that both teams shoot like 60% and like 180 points are scored, or it's literally going to be like a 60 to like 58 game. And I don't know what, because both teams can do both. And my gut is telling me, just speaking purely like outright, my gut is telling me Baylor, which bums me out because I really want to see St. John's win this game. So I think I'm leaning Baylor. I'm pretty sure I'm leaning Baylor on this.
Good one to watch. There's another couple good games this week. Unfortunately, we don't have time to cover them all for you guys. But maybe we'll cut some shorts. I think we're going to make a habit of running our secret third segment as a standalone video. So if you're watching us live or if you're joining us later, make sure you subscribe to Club 602 on YouTube and everywhere, truly. Because those videos, I think we're going to drop them like Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to get a little weird with it. It gives us a little more time to kind of freeform those.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, did you have any last minute thoughts on the top 25 or on a specific team? Anything you wanted to hit before we break here?
No, I think we covered everything I think of note that I wanted to discuss. I think really who I'm keeping my eyes on, if I had to put two teams for everyone to watch, would be Dayton aside, Bama and Kansas. Bama could either find their stride and really kind of put together this streak in the very tough schedule they have, or they can go the opposite way. And Kansas, they got Duke next week, which we'll obviously discuss next week. But they need to clean some things up if they got a chance to be the champions this year. So those would be my two call-outs.
Thank you for joining us, Dead Ball Dancing. If you haven't played our new game, Chainlink, www.chainlink.st. The link is also in the video description. That's just a sports picks game, and you could pick all these basketball games that we're talking about and many, many more. You could pick Purdue to lose every single game the rest of the way if you wanted to. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but
he's going to do it. He's not saying it's a good idea, but he's going to do it.
No, if I get mad at Purdue, I'm just going to delist them from the game list in the app, so I don't have to look at it anymore.
Well, you might as well do that for the Purdue-Wisconsin game because you know what's going to happen with that one. So, yeah.
Kryptonite. It's been Dead Ball Dancing, guys. Thanks for joining us. Look out for our secret third segment, which I think we can tell you is all about the Big West.
Yes, it is. Interesting facts. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about them.
Yeah,
I forgot they were a conference.
good.
Yeah, I forgot they
Should
were
be
a
good. Oh, come on. There's so many conferences. We'll see you guys next week. Dead Ball Dancing.
Peace.